Are you tired of the cookie-cutter approach to education that's stuck in the last century? Are you seeking a win-win situation where your family thrives, your kid's education is revolutionary, and you still get to chase your own dreams? Welcome to Unschooled Unleashed. Unlock your child's genius. I'm your host, Matthew Jarecki, an unapologetic rebel dad and promoter of what many consider to be educational anarchy. You know the world isn't going to be won by those that just toe the line. It's the innovators, the visionaries, and the resilient spirits that are going to thrive. Our mission here is to forge those world changers within our very homes with less stress, energy, and time. Unschooled Unleashed starts now. Welcome back to another fantastic episode of Unschooled Unleashed. I'm your host, Matthew Jarecki, and today we're going to talk about how to make a life as an adventure as a family. This is going to be a follow-up episode to the last one, which was unschooling and traveling. Making it an adventure. I thought it might be interesting to just talk more about the whole adventure as a whole, not just traveling. So with that, let's dive in. Today we're going to be talking about how to make life an adventure with your family. We talked last time in the previous episode about traveling with your kids while doing unschooling. Well, now we're going to talk about just making life an adventure as a family. Jumping right in, why make life an adventure? Well, adventure creates lasting memories, and I believe it strengthens relationships. I think it's very important to spend quality time with our children and as a family, and I think that these experiences that we can do together are very valuable, so it really kind of just bonds us, these collective experiences that we have with our family. I know that sometimes this is inevitable. It's when things go wrong that we make some of the best memories. But I like to try and plan some memories that aren't just things going wrong to make some great memories. Another reason we should make life an adventure for our families are we foster curiosity and growth. I think adventures encourage curiosity and learning and even personal growth when you go on this adventure, especially with some things that are maybe a little bit scary, like the big slide or the high dive or whatever it might be, climbing that mountain, going on a hike. I think these real world experiences are a powerful educational tool to help our children as well as ourselves get to know more about ourselves. My oldest child, my 10-year-old child, he recently went to like an adventure park. And at this adventure park, they had a zip line. Now, I didn't think he would do it. I wasn't there. But he ended up doing it. He watched his cousin do it, and then he decided to get up there and do it, and he really pushed himself. I'm really proud of him. Another reason we should make life an adventure for our families is I think it creates this kind of joyful, fun dynamic that we never really know what to expect. I think we embrace the adventure, and then it adds excitement and really joy to everyday life. Breaking the monotony of routines is very helpful. And I think it can just overall add to the experiences of our family. We like to do spontaneous things every once in a while. We're very kind of regimented in our routine most times, but we try and break out of that by just, let's go somewhere this weekend, that kind of thing. We went to a water park. We actually planned that one out in advance. But it was a surprise to the kids, so it was a fun little adventure for them. And that kind of change up in things, I think kids really, really enjoy it, especially younger children. Moving on, let's talk about the adventure mindset. The adventure mindset is, in my head, broken down into two things. One, embracing spontaneity. You gotta shake things up, make it an adventure, right? Like not know where you're going, walk in blind faith. Impromptu trips and spontaneous activities really, I think, make it a lot of fun. I think that you need to leave time within your day or your week or your month or your year to have these unexpected opportunities. Otherwise, you're just really not going to be able to do it. And I think the second part of the adventure mindset is cultivating curiosity. Just following that curiosity to build that love for exploring new places, ideas, maybe hobbies, I think makes life just fun. Call it an adventure. I think it's important to follow children's interests. Right now, my second oldest, well, really my two oldest, my boys, they're really interested in like AI robots. They're kind of we've been watching trailers for like The Matrix and Terminator because we were talking about robots and stuff. So I think they may be a little too young for Terminator right now, but we'll see. There's an event going on right now in the U.S. It's actually in Cleveland. It's its U.S. debut, called Roboland, and it's got a whole bunch of robots. Some are AI robots, and it's watching trailers for the Terminator and the Matrix really kind of freaks them out about this event. But they're super interested in it, and while it might be a little bit of an expense to go, I think this is something probably worth pursuing in my head. Moving on, planning and preparation for an adventure. You gotta plan this stuff out sometimes. You can do it spontaneously, but you're gonna miss a lot of stuff. For example, that Roboland, I need to know when the dates are, when it's in Cleveland, so I can actually go. Otherwise, I'm going to Greensboro, Tennessee, or wherever, I don't know, whatever state that's in. It's probably in the Carolinas. Probably embarrassing myself right now. But you got to plan it out. I think that annually writing down what you want out of the year is very, very helpful. That's something me and my family do. And then we start plugging stuff in the calendar if we know our availability. Otherwise, we keep it on our short list of stuff that we want to do, and we just integrate it into our year. And then we break it down further into, say, spring, summer, autumn, winter activities. And, for example, the beach we would want to do in the summer. Amusement parks, that kind of thing. We know where they're going to go in those seasons, so let's just go ahead and plug them in. And that way we don't miss it. With that being said, something to look forward to, I think, is very helpful as well. It gets the kids excited, gets you excited, breaks the mundane, and I think that's all part of that adventure mindset as well. But more on planning and preparation. Weekly adventure planning is something that we try to do. Now, we've fallen out of the habit of it because life gets in the way and a new season comes about. But when we're hitting on all cylinders, one of the things we do is we have an adventure day with our children. This might be just going out to a park, or maybe it is going to an amusement park. It could be anything, a beach day, sports, family events. We even do things like family game nights and family movie nights. We don't hit it every week, but we try. This keeps it really interesting, and I think this planning approach really creates these opportunities for our family to be able to just have these cool experiences. Yeah, and as far as planning is concerned, you got to balance between spontaneity and planning. Sometimes it's just good to call your plans and just go out and do something new. Fully embrace that if that's the case. Just make sure you're being wise about it, that you're not canceling something based off some other maybe fear, like, I don't know how this will go, so I'm running from it, so I'm going to plan something else. That's a trap. Do something, cancel plans if needed, hopefully for something that's even better or something that can be shifted. You can cancel and then do the new plan. For example, last night, or the night before, I should say, earlier this week, we'll call it, I had plans for a movie night. Well, I had a friend who was driving by in the neighborhood, and he said, "Hey, we're having a bonfire. You want to bring the kids? Make s'mores, all that stuff." And I'm like, oh my gosh, we were really looking forward to movie night. However, we can shift movie night, so we're going to do that Monday is our plan. And Friday night we went to a bonfire, and then there was a whole bunch of kids, and that was just a whole experience in its own. Moving on, let's talk about how to make fun events happen. So you got to find these events and you got to choose which ones make sense. So in Northeast Ohio, they have someone who has an email list, and they just send out all these family activities every week, which I think is pretty cool. I don't recall the name of it, but if you Google it, I'm sure you could find it. You probably have one of those in your area, and it just keeps us up to date. We got a lot of festivals. For example, next week, I believe it's an art festival in our community. It's just something to do. We could walk around. We could probably get some fries or something. My kids love that stuff, so that's an adventure. That's a lot of fun. We'll probably jump into that. Facebook groups, community boards, social media, advertisements. This is all ways to find events. You could organize an event on your own. Now, this is a lot of work, but there are some people who really excel at that, so by all means, go ahead and do that if that's your thing. Plan it with other family members, plan it with your community, plan it with friends, and just align the schedules and get it going, like a block party, for example. That's something that we do here in my community, and you got to have a certain percentage of the neighborhood sign off to be able to shut the block down, and then you can do whatever you want. No cars go through unless you live there. And it's just this cool way to bring everyone together in the neighborhood. Committing to events. Don't overcommit. This is another mistake. If you overcommit, you are not leaving room for spontaneous events. In addition, you're not going to keep up. You got to leave room for rest as well. And some of that spontaneity might be actually resting and skipping whatever you have planned, or just using your free time to rest, because it is exhausting. Next, engaging in the community and nature. Local events, community events, church events, all these things are fun things for the kids, and you can actually build relationships along the way when you do this. But it creates a sense of belonging as well, and I think that's part of the fun, is building new relationships when you go on these adventures. I think I mentioned last week when I was traveling, we were in Cincinnati, and we went over another family's house, and they did this kind of weird prayer where their family, their younger boys sang, and all this. It was kind of odd. But it made an incredible memory. And, I mean, they were really nice people. It was just kind of an odd experience. But if we ever go back down to Cincinnati, I'm sure we could get a hold of them and hang out again if we wanted to do that. But there were other people who we met that I think are people we'd probably prefer to hang out with. Outdoors, nature and outdoors. Get out to the beach. Get out to the pool. We got a pool pass this year. And this is a summer of swimming. So my kids are going to get really good at swimming. We have our cousins in town from another state, and they got a pool pass too. So we get them out to the pool as often as possible. Other stuff you can do to get them outdoors, because kids are always on screens. We want to get them off screens, get them outdoors, especially in the nice weather. Go camping. We usually do an annual camping trip with my boys, either together or individually. And it's just awesome time to be able to get rid of screens and just kind of hang out, treat them like maybe a little older than they're normally being treated. And I think that makes it really exciting for them. Moving on. You can also create memorable experiences at home. And I already kind of mentioned some of this stuff, but family nights, like indoor fun stuff, like a movie night, like a game night. You can play video games, or you can play a board game. You can do creative projects. You can do, challenges to have them make something. I think that's a lot of fun. And these indoor activities, especially in the winter months, are a lot of fun. One other thing that makes it really fun, like a really good experience, is pursuing your child's interests. And you can share in it with them. So encourage them to explore new hobbies and skills. You can do that at home, like cooking, coding, making music, whatever it might be, making movies. But you can also then make that a travel experience by going over and pursuing, say, if they're into chess, maybe get them involved in a chess competition in New York City and make it a big event. I think that's the coolest way to live, personally. But that's what we plan to do when we get our box truck that we're converting to an RV. Is we're going to go over and do that kind of stuff. At least that's the plan. Got to have extra money for it. So financial and practical tips for adventures. You got to budget for it. Designate a lot of money specifically for family adventures and activities. And try and pursue things that are affordable and cost effective if you can, if you're tight on money. We happen to live well below our means, so we actually allocate a lot more money to family experiences and things that we want to enjoy, as opposed to housing, cars, and a whole bunch of other nonsense that people like cable, people spend their money on. We don't do that. We budget a lot more for experiences because that's more important to me. And at the end of my life, I'm not going to look back and say, thank God I had a 2,500 square foot house. No, I'm going to go, thank God I spent quality time with my children and I made their life very interesting, and I didn't have to say no to things because of expenses. I know my parents have told me over and over again that I actually had 3 separate swimming coaches that did not know each other, and one was in Cleveland, one was in Detroit, one was in Canton, and another one somewhere in Northeast Ohio. 3 of them independently, all around the same time as we moved around, within a couple years, all said the same thing. Matthew is very good at swimming. I think he should train for competitions, and the Olympics are within he's good enough to try and train for the Olympics. Now, I don't know how much truth there is to that. I do remember them saying that to me, but my parents didn't have the money to put me in private lessons. They did have money when we lived in a campground for a summer, so I trained then, but it really bums me out that someone, not just someone, 3 separate individuals who can identify talent, meaning they do this as a part of their living, identified me as a very, very strong swimmer. And we did not cultivate that because of financial concerns. So my goal is to never have a financial concern. That's easier said than done, but I think it's very, very important to leave money for developing your children, pursuing their interests and what they're good at. I think we're going to stop there. This is going to be a really short episode, but I am recording in an attic on an 85 to 90 degree day because it's the only place I can find that is quiet enough to record today. And I am literally sweating through my shirt. So I moved through this very quickly, but we're going to call an audible, just like I talk about being spontaneous, and I am going to end today's episode. So with that, stay curious, stay unschooled, and stay away from the algebra nightmares. I'll catch you in the next episode. Parents, are you terrified your unschooled child isn't learning enough? Or are you a homeschooling veteran eager to level up by incorporating in unschooling principles? Maybe you're newly venturing into homeschooling and already doubting your decision. Whatever the stage, overwhelm is real, but it doesn't have to be. I'm Matthew Jarecki from Unschooled Unleashed, and I've got huge news. I'm thrilled to introduce Homeschool Rescue, Unschooled Unleashed's signature coaching package. Whether you're all in on unschooling or just dipping a toe, this tailored coaching package is your roadmap to a confident and thriving education no matter how hectic life gets. Bold moves make bright futures. Join our Homeschool Rescue coaching program through the link in the description and set your child's genius free. So here's where we roll up our sleeves and bring out the big guns. If you support our mission, then please leave a review. On Unschooled Unleashed, we are talking about using a radical approach to education in today's world, and the more 5-star reviews we have, the more people will feel comfortable with the ideas, strategies, and principles we discuss. It gives legitimacy to our message, and the podcast's algorithm prioritizes us so we can reach more people. You may even have your 5-star review read on our podcast. Before I let you go, I have to pause and say this from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Your presence here is the fuel that ignites this movement. I am incredibly moved that you trust in us enough to click play. You, my friends, are the caped heroes in this story, the guardians of your family's learning journey, and a beacon of hope for your community. Be bold. Do what you think is best for you and your family. Thanks again for tuning in and taking this courageous leap outside of the box for this educational revolution. Welcome to the front line.